But anyway, good morning and welcome to our second ZAP online parent info broadcast. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see if anybody joins us. We got over 70 views on our last broadcast for our spooktacular, which is huge. I'm thrilled. It just means that it was actually helpful to at least a couple of people, which is nice to know. A couple of different parent guests, so I wanted to have you guys introduce yourselves first. So if you'll tell us who you are and who you have on the team and what group they're in. Hi, Finn. And that would be great. And we can have Finn introduce herself too. And then we can go from there. We're going to talk about the calendar today. So we'll do a little bit of that, and I'll sort of talk you guys through that as well. Kelli, let's start with you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelli Reel, and our daughter Jordan has been swimming with ZAP for a lot of years, and she's currently with Marshall, and I think this is awful. I think it's PS1, right? And we love it, and she loves it, and she loves her team and her teammates, and yeah, it's been a great experience for us. So that's our story. Anything else?
That'll do.
Yeah. So one swimmer, and Carson, our son, swims on and off, but he is in other sports, and so he's not yet a full-time swimmer, but yeah, he's done the swim squads and things like that. So both the kids.
I like that you kept the yet in there, not
yeah,
yet.
Exactly. We're trying, but he's a football, soccer runner, yeah, but it's good. So, and Jordan, we love it. So we love you guys. Next.
Randi, go for it.
I'm Randi Bender. Todd Walter's my husband, and Finley's been swimming. This is her 4th year actually. So she's with I Am One.
Sherry's her coach.
And good luck to Sherry on that one. So that's all I can say.
I love that girl. Good. Well, and I'm Sherry. I'm the head age group coach at ZAP, and I'm thrilled to have you guys here. Thank you so much. Basically, today we're gonna go through, and this is actually this is part 1 of a 2-parter that we're gonna do. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through what is already posted online on the ZAP website for you all, and I'm gonna share my screen, and we'll go through all of the events that are currently up and RSVPable. And what I'm gonna tap into you guys for. What's nice is that Jordan is a little bit older and Finley is a little bit younger, but all of you have been on the team for a little while, so you're a little bit seasoned. So you're familiar with a lot of the different meets and social events, which is great because you have some insights into what kind of time they take, and what your kids' reactions to those events have been. And you can sort of provide a new parent with, that kind of feedback. And an older parent maybe who hasn't yet been to, who's got a younger kid who hasn't yet done the older kid stuff, some insight into that kind of thing. So I'm going to sort of tap you for the parent perspective on that as we go. Part 2 is actually going to happen on Monday. Deanne and I are going to get on together with no parents this time. And we're going to go through some things that are not yet on the calendar, that are a little bit more nebulous. And I didn't have a time and date to announce on that one via email, but I do now. We've just actually set that time before she left for the meet this morning. So I get to announce that today. So Monday at 12:30, she and I will get on, and that'll be our next parent info session. And we will talk about, in particular, when the schedule will change for practices. As you all know, it's getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier. Already that's become a concern for our younger kids because we're swimming in the dark quite a bit now. And there will be a change where we move up to Peninsula for a while. The biggest, hugest announcement that we are overjoyed to say is that we have ordered lights for the pool.
Cool.
Thrilled about
that's
it.
great.
Oh
It's-
my
it's
gosh,
a-
what a blessing.
I know.
Huge, huge, huge. We don't know how long it will take. We don't know what the details will be once we have them. That requires a lot of permissions and work and things. So that timeline is still long. It's longer than you would think. So it's been a 9-month journey, and that journey will continue. So it's not like we've gone down to Home Depot and we've ordered a couple lights and they'll be here, in a couple days, and we'll have them installed by the end of the week. That's not how this works. It's a much more lengthy process. So we will be moving up to Peninsula. Our hope is that we won't be there for 6 months, but that we'll be there for a couple of months, and then we'll be able to move back to Mirrorless. We just don't have a real specific timeline. So Deanne and I would like to talk about that in a lot more detail, and we'll give you more of those details in that meeting, along with some other stuff that isn't necessarily on that calendar that you might be wondering about. Okay. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with everybody. I hope. I did a dry run with Kelli, so hopefully this works.
That's the multiple one.
Can you see that one?
That's where it breaks out into a bunch of little screens.
Oh, shoot. My bad. All right. Wrong one. Sorry, everybody. Let me try that again.
My eyes look like little slits. I just saw myself like, oh my God. I need toothpicks.
It's okay. I'm orange.
All right. Let's try that again. All right.
There we go.
How's that?
Perfect.
Better?
That's it.
All right. Okay. So I was going to do this on my better computer and go through the whole login process, but the gods have conspired against me, and I'm on my old computer again. So rather than spend 45 minutes logging in, I am there. I am on the ZAP website. I have logged in to my account, and I have come to meet. If you haven't read all of these things, if you haven't taken the time, you don't need to carve out 9 hours to read it all at one time. But if you have a little bit of time here and there, and you can go through and read one of these pages every now and again, that's a really, really good idea. You're just more and more informed every time you read one of these things. And that goes for all of the stuff here for parents. That goes for all of the stuff here on Premier Team. I can't recommend that stuff enough. So at any rate, if you just hit this top button up here for me, this is what winds up coming up. Today, Deanne is with our 13 and up kids at this Pacific Coastal Senior Sprint meet. A senior meet. It is a qualifier meet. What that means is you need to have specific times in order to qualify for that meet. So not only do you need to be 13 and up, but you need to have specific times to get into that meet to qualify. If you don't know whether you have the times, you can always go to you can come in and try and commit to that meet. So I just hit, edit commitment. Now the registration deadline for this has passed, but if I wanted to, I could come in here and try and commit to this. And what that would do is, if I were a swimmer, it would bring up my times, and it would show whether I qualify for any of the times or any of the events that were offered for me. And that's sort of an easy way. The only drawback there is if we don't have a meet file yet, and so we don't know what the times are yet, then you wouldn't know whether you qualify unless you ask your coach. So that might be one where, if you're not totally sure and you're trying to be a good citizen and register in advance, you might want to ask your coach, say, hey, I'm not sure, but I was thinking about registering for this, and the events aren't there, qualify for that. And your coaches will know for sure. Okay. Our online clinic is happening right now. Yay. And then Marshall is about to do a Super Saturday clinic for his group at 11 o'clock. Tomorrow is our Halloween scavenger hunt for our 13 and up kids. This is kind of a big deal. It's actually not kind of a big deal. It is a big deal. We put the kids in groups, we put them in cars, we drive all over a certain area of town. That area changes every year. They get clues at each destination. They start in a certain place. This year they're starting at Mirror. Last year they started somewhere else. The year before that they started somewhere else. We give them, there's a clue waiting for them at each destination, and then they wind up finishing at another undisclosed location. And then typically there's something special waiting for them at the end that requires a lot of planning and logistics. It's a big deal, and it requires a lot of advanced planning, which is why we put it up here, and we require an advanced RSVP so that we can not only break them down into groups and figure out how many cars we're going to need and how many drivers we're going to need, but also what we can do at the end. We have finished in a lot of different ways. We have finished with meals at restaurants. We have finished with rides at amusement parks. We've finished in a lot of different ways. And it just sort of depends on how many kids we have and what the cost is going to be and what the location is. I don't know, geographics. So without giving too much away, that is tomorrow for our 13 and up kids. And it's always a good time. Do I have any questions from you guys up until this point?
No.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, brain group.
I want an adult scavenger hunt. I want us to have our own.
Oh, that is a great
I
idea.
suggest that to Deanne. One more thing for her to plan. She'll love me.
That is great. It's very funny because our younger kids were a little upset with us, but we always do. We have traditionally done a very small scavenger hunt as kind of like an icebreaker / time buyer in the beginning of our younger's party. And it's just because, kids get there late, they have soccer games, they have, piano recitals, whatever. And so they're all kind of coming like together in the first 45 minutes of the party. And we're kind of gathering our own brains together. And last year we didn't do it. We thought, you know what, we're just gonna get it going. We've got all these games, we're gonna mix it up. And 3 or 4 of our kids came up and like waged formal complaints that there was no scavenger hunt. They were not happy. So we have rearranged the party this year. I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yay.
Yeah, they were not happy with us. By the way, while I am doing this, I can't see you at all. So I have no idea I don't know what you look like, because all I can see is my screen. And then it also just occurred to me that there should be a chat happening.
Oh, yeah.
try and look for that as well. Okay, I can see that Teresa Bowie's on, and I can see the chat, and there's nothing there. Okay, we're good. Hi, Teresa. Okay, good to have two computers. All right, so like I said, the calendar broadcast, the second calendar broadcast will be on Monday at 12:30. That's one where we won't have parent guests, but you're going to be more than welcome to log in, and I will send out an email after this broadcast with a link for that. The other thing is that if you subscribe to our channel, to the ZAP Swimmers channel, you automatically get a little update or a little sort of alert on your, it might come up on your phone if you have the YouTube app, or it might come up on your computer if you've got pop-ups on your computer. But YouTube will tell you when we have a live event happening. So and it'll literally come up as soon as we go live. It'll pop up on your phone saying, hey, ZAP Swimmers is doing a live event right now, why don't you tune in? So it makes it super easy if you're out and about. Doris Yamamoto was saying, oh, can I, if I'm at the meet, can I watch this from my phone? Yeah, you can actually. It's actually pretty easy. But it's even easier if you subscribe to the channel. If there were a lot of kids, Kelli, I think, did Jordan volunteer at the LA Invite this past year?
I mean, no, she was going to, but then it was a scheduling thing, so we couldn't at the last minute, but I know a lot of the kids did, which was great.
Yeah, so there's a big senior meet where there are typically a lot of Olympians, and it's held over at USC, and they're always looking for volunteers, and so we always tap our kids for that. And they, in a way, as a way to reward the kids for volunteering, they do a clinic with some of their Olympians who swim at Trojan. And so that clinic is happening on the 22nd. That's next weekend. So those kids get to go over to the USC pool and take part in that, which is kind of nice. And then finally, we have our Youngers Halloween party up. That's on the 22nd, also next, coming up very quickly. That's going to be 2:30 to 5:30 at Miralest. We were unsure of the venue, which is why it took so long for us to get that information up. I'm sorry. Also a great idea to RSVP for this as soon as possible. This party is for our 12 and unders. So if your swimmer is age 12 or under 12, this is the party that they're going to go to. They should come in costume for sure. They will not be swimming, but they are going to check in at the pool gate. This is going to be an outdoor party. So they should, whatever their costume is, they should have shoes on. If your swimmer is older and is looking for community service hours or would just like to help out, we can always use extra help. Always with our youngers, and especially when we have just youngers, in a deal like this, it's kind of like herding cats. And we can use as many cat herders as possible. So, any kids who are interested in doing a little volunteer work with us, we are happy to have them. They just need to let us know. In particular, let Deanne know. If they can just drop her an email, that's great. And just say, I'd like to help out. What can I do? She will give them a job. The earlier, the better on that is always great because it helps us plan. Okay. We have mini meets coming up. Our mini meets are particularly for our squad program and then for our stroke academies, for stroke academies 1 and 2. The stroke academies are the guys who you see with Coach Deanne and also with typically with Brennan, who also gets in with them. They're part of the premier team, but they're so young and so beginner that we're having them swim. They're sort of the leaders of the squad pack. And so we're having them sort of be the leaders at the mini meets, which has been a pretty great thing. So our third mini meet is coming up on the 23rd. And that's another thing that people should be committing to in advance for sure, because that's a big logistics nightmare to put everything together ahead of time. And then our Lakewood Halloween meet is the last meet at this point up that is no longer open for RSVP. It's the entries are in. We are done on that, and no more changes can be made. Everything after that, changes can be made at this point. So the Halloween meet, our Stroke Academy ones, we have 25s at the Lakewood meet, all the way up to our senior development kids. And then if our, any senior kids who aren't going to the meet right after that, the Kevin Perry senior meet, any kids who aren't going there should be also, they should be going to the Lakewood meet instead of the Kevin Perry meet. So the Lakewood meet is that Halloween weekend. It's a 2-day meet. You guys have been to the Lakewood meet, right?
Right.
Yes.
And for some parents, it's a good start because it's very well organized, so it's an easier meet for them to really get a handle on what it's going to be for the rest of the time.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Especially with those 25s. That's a really good point.
Yes, when Finley was 5, that was her first meet, was at that location.
I remember that. Yeah, and I think a lot of our youngers are going to be swimming a lot of 25s. Actually, we're going to try and get them into as many of those as possible, so we can maybe set some records. But yeah, it's a great starter meet. It's the Lakewood meets are typically at Cerritos College, which isn't too far away. Lakewood, the team is comparable in size to us, although they're slightly larger. The coaches there are friends of ours, so it's nice. It's kind of friendly territory. We get along with them very well. So it's just kind of easy all around. It's very relaxed atmosphere. I don't know what else to really say about that. And, in terms of, is there anything else in terms of, from your standpoint, stuff that other parents should know or might want to think about in terms of those?
Just that, well, we typically will sit on the lawn as a team, but the way depending on the day, whether Cerritos allows them to have access to the locker room, so you have to be prepared for, if it is a little cooler, to keep your kid warm. But if the locker rooms are open, you have an opportunity to be able to, have access to somewhere to stay warm or take them to the restroom, change them, and things like that. But it's not always, Cerritos doesn't always make that available to the event.
That's a great point. It's a great point. I never know where we're going to be able to go to the bathroom at Cerritos.
Yeah.
And it really depends on the college and what the college has going on and what the athletics department has going on the rest of the weekend there. So, it might be that we have the entire locker room, which is across from the pool, and ginormous. And it might be that we have a tiny, tiny little locker room that's right on the deck of the pool that's big enough for about maybe 10 people to stand in shoulder to shoulder. It really just sort of depends on the weekend and what's going on and what they've told Lakewood Aquatics that they can do. So that's a really good point,
also,
Todd.
Sherry, even though we sit outside, I mean, they have bleachers. So when you're watching your swimmer, you can be not just standing on the deck. Isn't that, I mean, that's the Cerritos College pool where they have the bleachers for parents to sit and watch.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's a nice, I mean, I always think that's a nice feature, so you can kind of get a spot, you know, it's an easy pool to watch, to take photos, because the timing and all that is on the one, but on the other side, you know, it's just nice to have that area that you can sit and kind of camp out a little bit if you want to watch a few of the races back to back.
Definitely. Yeah. You can kind of walk in, sit down, watch kids, take off. Yeah, kind of nice. And that's, you're absolutely right too, that it's a really good idea to check the weather for Cerritos. Because the weather is always different there than it is here, like by a lot. And it matters. Because if it's chilly there, it's really chilly.
Yeah.
And if it's hot there, it's really hot. And makes a huge difference. If you're cold, you know, then your kid is really, really cold. And that really does make a huge difference. Anything else that we're missing there? How's the snack bar there?
Actually, the snack bar is really good. They do a good job. Coffee's usually done really early, which is good for those of us who drink coffee.
Good.
But, no, they have a wide variety from, you know, the junk food all the way up to good, healthy fruits and vegetables.
Good. Okay. Always important. And then important to just bring extra stuff to drink. I can't stress that enough. Just, you know, bring an extra couple liters of stuff to drink, whether that's water or water and Gatorade, or water and, you know, if you make your own electrolyte drinks, I don't care what it is, but bring fluids.
And there's ample parking, and you don't have to pay for parking.
Yeah.
I like this meet. I think the pool is nice. Like you said, Sherry, they're great at hosting, and I think this is a great pool for us to swim at and a great group of people to be around. So
yeah, I really like these guys.
A big parking lot, so you don't have to pay. I mean, that's easy. So there's plenty of room for everyone, and it's just,
yes,
we're all
I do love it.
in the one area. It's not like so gigantic. I think it's easy to get around. So yeah, it's a good one.
Yes. Okay. Good. The next meet after that is the Kevin Perry senior meet. That is senior qualifiers only. That's a biggie. If you are not swimming with Deanne in the senior group, you're not going to that meet. You will know if you're going to that meet. That's at Golden West College. And that is pay parking. I believe it's meters over there. Like pay meters, not long course meters. So you want to bring your quarters with you. And sort of difficult to find the pool originally, but then it's super easy. It's not too far away from the parking lot. There are typically a million vendors and not a whole lot of deck space, like, in fact. So be prepared to sit under canopies on a lawn outside of the pool area and just kind of run in, event, maybe grab a seat on a bleacher, maybe probably stand, watch them, and then walk on out. It's a pretty fast meet, and it goes by pretty quickly. It's very, very efficient. Golden West is a team that is run by a pretty incredible coach, and it's just it's a good meet to attend. It's one of the first senior meets of the year. It's just it's kind of a good one for us to go to and get our senior kids involved. Sorry, that is my phone. All right, we do not have practice on Veterans Day. That's Monday, the 11th. The weekend after Veterans Day. Oh, no, I'm not totally sure about that, so I'm not gonna go there. The weekend after Veterans Day is our trip to Mesa, Arizona for the IMX games. We're still working out details on that. We don't have a lot of, we have a bunch of qualifiers, but a lot of them have told us that they won't be able to go. which is a big deal because it means a major impact on our transportation options, so, and our lodging options. So we're still working that out. We'll keep everybody posted on that. If you have questions about whether you qualify, you can do two things. One, you can log into USA Swimming, not Southern California Swimming, not ZAP Swimming, USA Swimming, and go to your own deck pass and look up your IMX points. Or you can ask one of your coaches and we can tell you how to do that. And we can look up your points for you and talk to you about it and show you what, how to do all that and where your points are and why and all that kind of stuff.
Now, do the coaches keep track of those points and notify parents?
Yeah, we do. So this starts when they're a little bit older, not too old, but when they're a little bit older. And yeah, we keep track of it. And as soon as they're qualified, we let the parents know, because it's a big deal trip, and we want the parents, we want everybody on board as quickly as possible. And we want them to know that that's an option.
Now, do the parents get to attend this meet or no?
Yeah, they can if they want to. So typically what we do is we take the kids and we typically ask for, depending on how many kids we have, 1 or 2 chaperones as well. And so that's a really easy way for a parent to go if they're interested, but it also comes with responsibilities. And then if parents want to go on their own, they're more than welcome to. They can stay in the same hotel, in a different hotel, depending on where we're, what it is that we're looking at. Right now, we're actually looking at Airbnb houses, like a big, huge house, because we don't have that many kids. So like if we only have 8 kids, and then we can stay in a 5-bedroom house and do something like that, and bring the cost down to something that would be actually doable. That may make it possible for us to go. We'll see. So it just sort of, if you wind up going as parents, either you go as a chaperone or you go on your own, and you would see your swimmer at the meet.
Okay.
And that's, that would be about it. And, you could call them and say goodnight and, that kind of stuff.
Why would we want to do that?
I don't know.
I'm thinking it's a mini vacation for mom and dad, without the kid.
It most certainly is. It's a great way for them to get some independent skills, some independent living skills, and to, we really like to get them learning how to be on their own and on travel trips as early as they possibly can. It is truly a skill to learn. They have to communicate with their parents. They have to communicate with their teachers, because they have to miss a day of school. They have to communicate with, with each other. They have to live in a situation that is not necessarily comfortable for themselves, for other people. They have to, they've got to learn that. But as they continue to swim, and if they're going to swim at upper levels, they're going to have more and more opportunities for travel, and they're going to travel with strangers. Not necessarily adult strangers, but strangers, other kids. And other swimmers, and we want them to have those opportunities. If they wind up being on the national junior team, they're going to travel internationally with other kids from all over the country. And we want them to have had similar experiences so that they're able to handle that and not have a nervous breakdown because they, didn't know how to cope without their own toothbrush, whatever. So we want to get them those opportunities as early as we can. I hear you say that. All right, so that's IMX. That's a Thursday to Sunday deal. And then there is the same weekend a closed invite in San Fernando. That's a one-day single session for kids who are not going to IMX, for everyone from Stroke Academy 2 all the way through the senior groups. Okay. So if you are not planning on going to Arizona, you should plan to go to San Fernando on the 20th of November. And that's something, you know, anything that is here that's on this calendar is ready to be committed to. So if you have it free on your calendar, please, for the love of God, say you can go. Tell us, the earlier the better. You know, it's always better to know, you know, who can go rather than, you know, the date is, you know, closing in on us and, you know, we're tracking people down last minute, you know, via individual emails saying, can you go, can you go, can you go? The practice schedule will for sure be revised by November 23rd, possibly earlier than that. We will see. But for sure, there will be a revised practice schedule on the 23rd because of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Most of the practices will be earlier that day. Most of the kids get out early from school that day, if they have school at all that day. I think LA Unified is out like almost a whole week.
Yeah, the last day of school for them is the 18th, and then they're off the whole entire week.
Get the whole week off, right? Yeah. So, and then what about HT, Kelly?
We are off that Wednesday.
Okay, so the whole Wednesday
the whole
is off?
day. Yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, full days, and then Wednesday, no school, and then of course, obviously Thursday and Friday.
Right, and then I think the PV kids have a half day on that Wednesday.
Okay.
The Wednesday, the 23rd. So I think you're probably going to look at like a 1 o'clock practice that day.
Okay.
Something to that effect, somewhere around there. Because the PV kids have school until like 12:30, and we want to give them a chance to, you know, eat before we throw them in the pool. We were hoping to do a series of Friday Night Lights meets the way that we have done in the past. Unfortunately, USC Water Polo has scheduled a whole bunch of dates in the LA Swim Stadium where we were hoping to have the LA Friday Night Light meet. So we are not able to do that. So we will have one Friday Night Light meet. It will be on December 2nd. That's a Friday, hence the name. It's open to everybody. There will be 25s. There will be short events. There will be at least one long event. And we do it after school. The meet starts at 6:30. The warm up is brief right before then, and we go until somewhere around 8:15. So it's done at night, but it's under the lights. It's actually a really fun type of meet. It's done as a dual or a tri meet. Not a whole lot of kids. It goes pretty fast, and it's super, super fun. It's just a really good time, and the kids love swimming under the lights. We love coaching under the lights. It's just it's a different type of experience, but it's a blast. And that will be at the LA Swim Stadium, which is down by USC. Questions about that? Have you guys done an LA Friday Night Lights meet before?
I don't think we have.
We
have not either.
Yeah, I think it's been at least a year, maybe 2 years since we've done a series like that. It's super fun. You'll have to trust me on that. It's fun. And then that same weekend is we have a Pacific Committee Blue, Red, White meet, the 3rd and the 4th. That's Saturday and Sunday, and it's kind of like a mid-season championship meet. It's not a championship meet, but it's like a mid-season check-in type thing. and it's big, and it's down in San Fernando. If your kids are not going to WAG or sectionals or the Senior Development Championships, then they should be going to this meet, which is, you know, the sort of, I would say, 85% of our swimmers. So it's a big meet for us.
It's a great pool, but arrive early so
For
you can find parking. Otherwise, you'll park on the other side of the park and have a good long walk to get there.
For sure. Yeah. Free parking, but parking really far away if you get there.
Even 15 minutes or before.
Yeah.
It's a track. I mean, that's our Holy Trinity pool. We swim there. We have 4 meets there. So, I mean, it is a great pool, but it's, you know.
It is a track.
It is. It's, you know, down off the 405. I mean, you chance that, but it's good, and it's a great pool. But yeah, like you said, parking on the street, and it's, you know, we're used to it because that's where we've been swimming for years for school. But yeah, it's a different setup.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right. And if you live in San Pedro, you have the farthest trek of all. It's a long haul to San Fernando. It's also a completely different weather system, so check your weather forecast before you leave. It is valley-esque, so it tends to be at least 10 degrees hotter, and very inland.
Yeah.
But they have a nice locker room facility.
They do. They have a great locker room facility. You know, December in the valley is always weird. December in California is always weird. I never know if we're going to have a heat wave or if it's just going to rain like the Dickens. I never know. If it rains, it's going to be really, really cold. If it's going to be hot, it's going to be really, really hot. I don't know. But typically around that time of year, it's foggy and rainy. So we plan for cold.
Will they be running 16 lanes, alternating starts, or are they going to just do 8 for this meet?
That's a really good question. I don't know. But I will hold on to that question, Todd, and as we get closer to it, I will confirm and get back to you. And if I can remember, if I'm really good, I will get it out on a broadcast before that meet happens.
It can get confusing to parents if they're swimming to the north or the south end, not knowing where your child's supposed to be.
You're absolutely right. And I would guess that they will run as many lanes as they possibly can because this is a big meet.
Okay.
They're going to pack it with as many swimmers as possible. That would be my guess would be 16 lanes. But I never know. That would be my guess, but I will confirm that because I don't know in terms of, I mean, it's going to depend on what kind of crew they have and how much equipment they can get. So I'll confirm that.
Okay.
WAG is the Winter Age Group Championships. That is also a qualifier meet. That's something that the kids talk about constantly as something that they want to qualify for. Their last chance to qualify really technically is back here at the LASC meet, the closed invite, or at IMX. That's really their last chance. They could possibly qualify at Friday Night Lights and the San Fernando meet. That's like a last ditch. But we'd have to make sure that San Fernando meet might be last ditch. Would have to register there at the San Fernando meet for WAG. My other computer just went out, so I can't look at my calendar, but I'm pretty sure that's a week. And typically it's got to be 2 weeks out. So it looks like that San Fernando meet is the last ditch. So that's truly their last chance to qualify, but it's a heck of a lot better for them to qualify the meet before that. So the kids are working really hard at swimming as fast as they possibly can and getting those qualifying times so that they can enter WAG and go and swim fast. WAG is also like a championship meet, but it's kind of weird timing because it's in the middle of the season. The season ends late February, early March. So to have a championship meet in December is weird, but is what it is. So we rest the kids a little bit for this meet and hope that they swim as fast as possible. That meet is another travel opportunity for them. They do go with their parents to WAG, or they have in the past. I'm not sure what we'll do this year. So we go out to Palm Springs. It's a fun weekend. They typically swim pretty darn fast, and we hope that they qualify for either sectionals or JOs at that meet. Like, that's a great opportunity for them to swim against kids that they haven't swum against before, because they're swimming against kids who are not necessarily in Pacific Committee. So they're swimming against kids from a larger geographic area, and who are also quick.
Shari. I'm just listening to you because I think since we've been around, we've heard these acronyms and stuff, but do we have a page on our website that just, like the BRW, when everyone just says these, I think there might be some people that don't even know what the blue, red, white, do you know what I mean? They don't. And then you just said winter age group. I think sometimes when they don't know what it is, I mean, we maybe just should have a little glossary just of these acronyms, because you just said the JOs, like some people are like, what's a JO? You know what I mean? If you're young and that's where you're eventually hopefully going to get to, if you don't know that right now, it just, they may not even understand that as they're listening.
I'm so glad you said that. Yes, I'm so glad you said that. Two things. Yes, I do think that's up here.
Which is great. I think we do too. I just was like a little like, what is each, or what are these acronyms? I don't know where it would be, but I was just thinking that we should have that maybe so people could look that up.
I'm looking, so I want to see. You know, maybe it's not here. However, the other thing that's going to happen very soon, the next parent meetings, the next parent info stuff that are going to happen are group centric ones. So like my IM1 parent info meeting is going to happen this coming Wednesday.
Okay.
And I will definitely go over that for my parents there. And hopefully all of our coaches will go over that for sort of our newer parents. But that's a great one. I want to do another parent meeting where we go over sort of all of those acronyms as well, so that we make sure that we have that, like we really have that down.
Okay.
Because you're absolutely right. Like it's
like which one comes before which one? Like, do you get to a JO or is it BRW first? I think for new, you have no idea. So just a quick little. If you guys are going to go, that's great. But that came to mind when we were having this discussion right now. Okay, thank you.
You're so right. The way that this actually right here, so this is why I have these three on here right now, just so that just like as brief as is humanly possible. A BRW meet is for everybody. WAG is the first on a rung of qualifier meets. Okay. Mm-hmm. The first time that you're ever going to see a qualifier meet is a WAG meet. That's Winter Age Group Championships. Okay, so that's the first time that you qualify for a meet is for WAG, and then sectionals is what we call like our first senior qualifier meet. There's age group qualifier meets, and then there's senior qualifier meets. And the lowest rung of the age group qualifier meets is WAG, and the lowest rung of senior qualifier meets is sectional. It's actually kind of nice that we have these three right in a row. So, and a BRW meet, a blue, red, white meet is for everybody. So you do not have to qualify for that. And that cat is getting into all kinds of things that he shouldn't be getting into. So, and that's as brief as I could possibly make that. But you're absolutely right, Kelly. I will put that down as we need to do for sure to get that happening.
Okay.
Sometimes
Sometimes people don't want to ask, so they just try to like figure it all out. So you know what I mean? You don't want to feel dumb and be like, I'm what? A JO, I don't even know what you people are talking about. So if you, just, that's why.
No, you're so right. And it's really, that's not something that you can just figure out on your own. And at the same time, definitely ask, like if you have questions about that, definitely ask.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
rough.
good.
Yeah, that's not something to figure out on your own. That's bad time.
Okay.
You're so right. Okay, I'm realizing that we have like 6 minutes left. I'm freaking out. Senior development championships comes after sectionals. So sectionals is sort of right now is our fastest meet of 2016 that's left.
Okay.
So that's our senior qualifiers. That's for our fastest kids right now. So that's in the middle of December, and then we've got that same weekend is our senior development championships, which is in La Mirada, which is sort of our second tier down for our senior kids. So the kids who are who aren't quite at sectionals level, but who are swimming at a senior level are going to go to senior development. And then we will be on a special winter schedule from December 16th through January 2nd.
Okay.
You'll recognize those dates because they are going to match up a lot with your holiday schedules for school, LA Unified excluded. I'm sure that
we have one more weekend.
We have about 9 different school schedules that we try and work with, quite match up, but we try and get the gross majority of them accommodated, and then there are a couple of outliers. LA Unified is always an outlier. It's typically LA Unified and Torrance that are the outliers. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. They're very difficult to work with.
Well, next year it's changing. They will be only 2 weeks off at Christmas.
Thank God for that.
So they're going back a week later. So their start time has been pushed off another week.
That would be a big help.
So that is changing, and they will not be off at Thanksgiving for the whole week.
Really?
That is
interesting.
Yeah. So that's supposed to be implemented starting next school year.
And does that mean that they won't go back in the beginning of August, or does that mean
they will? But closer to like instead of going August 16th, it would be like August 23rd. So
so much better.
Later. So it's closer to when PV starts. PV will start the week after that. Holy Trinity usually starts somewhere in the week of the 23rd, 24th. So they're lining more up with that.
So helpful. Hugely helpful. Oh, that's a sigh of relief right there. Okay, well, so we'll be on a special schedule. If you can tell us the way to commit to this one, to our winter challenge schedule, is to tell us whether you're going to be around. If you're going out of town for these dates, then you want to go in and say no. Okay. If you're going to be in town for a week, go in and say yes, but then in the notes say we're going to be gone for this, the second week. We're going to be gone for, whatever this, from December 26th through January 5th, whatever it is. We are able to, what we're doing here is we're trying to make staffing schedules, and we're trying to make pool rental schedules, and we have to get our pool rental schedules into the district a month in advance, and we have to pay for whatever we ask for. So and if we make this big hairy schedule and then 2 kids show up and we've rented a whole pool for 3 hours, it's very frustrating. So, and we've hired 3 coaches, etc. That's frustrating, especially when we could have sent those coaches on vacation time. So We want to be as accurate as we can with our rental schedule and with our staffing schedule so that we can get our coaches some time off if we can, and also so that we can get, you know, so we can rent what we need to rent when we need to rent it.
Sherry,
Yeah.
to interrupt, but when I'm just thinking this too. And for everyone, when you, for example, we have that 2-day meet, the 29th and 30th, in the notes section there too, if your child swimmer can only swim Saturday, that's where you put that as well, right? Like when you commit to it, you can say, I'm just like, I'm thinking of this as you're doing that. Jordan is only available Saturday, not Sunday. And then that way, when you guys are staffing, you know not to put her in the meet. So those notes, that's a great little area if you have to say PM only, or we can't be there in the AM on Sunday, but can in the PM. I mean, I just think that's a good little area. Rather than emailing all the time, that's why you have that notes area there so people can put in specific instructions if they need to.
Oh, you are so right. You are so right. That's huge. And you know, a lot of times we are not sure what time things are going to start or what time things are going to end until much later when we see how many kids we have. And so if you can write us a note saying like, we're going to need to leave by 3, then once we have a better idea, we can say like, look, you're not going to be able to go to this thing.
Yes.
If you have to leave by 3, you're not going to be able to go. So don't worry about it. Or, you know, if you have to leave by 3, then you're going to get into events, or if, you know, whatever. But it's incredibly helpful if you tell us ahead of time what kind of commitments you have going on. So the more communication that you can put in those notes, the better. That's fantastic. The other thing is, you know, you know, Bobby Sue really wants to swim the 50 free because he really wants to qualify for, you know, JOs in that, and he's only 5 seconds off. Then we can have a conversation with Bobby Sue about the idea that dropping 5 seconds in 50 free in 2 weeks is probably not incredibly realistic, you know, or maybe it is, I just don't know. But you know, those are all really good things to put in the notes section, because that's great communication. It's great information for us to know.
Yeah.
All of that is great. So please, please, please use that as much as possible. That's a thrilling tool for us. Our holiday party is on the 20th. Again, please, please, please RSVP. Everyone is welcome to that. Bring your whole family. It's a potluck. We have games planned. It's really good times. It goes on for a million years, but it really is a good time. And start working on your ugly sweater now. Any comments on that one?
Oh, no.
It's so much fun.
It is fun.
It is so much fun. You guys do so much work and all the games. It's a great time. I hope everyone can join.
It's definitely a good time, and always good photo opportunities in that one. Then there's a long break in our, you know, once that blue, red, white meet happens and all of those championship meets, the WAG and the sectionals and all that stuff up here, the senior development, all that stuff, we have a long break for our meet. And then finally at the end of January, we have our next blue, red, white meet. And that's you know, everybody goes except the kids who are going to go to our Premier League champs. The Premier League champs is a select team meet. If you can go to that meet, we want you to tell us yes, so that we know who is able to go. Once we know who is able to go, we're gonna go off of that list and select the kids, our top kids who are able to go and represent us at this meet. Who is able to go, and then who are our fastest representatives to go and represent us at that meet. Okay. So we will have an official draft for that meet, including alternates. and you'll be sort of let know by a certain time as to whether you've been selected. There will be plenty of time to put that on your calendar if it's something, if you've been selected, so that you know if you haven't been selected, and so that you can go to Southgate instead, which is the week before. A really fun, that Premier League Championship meet is a really fun meet. Okay.
So Shari, I think in simple, like when someone goes like today, I'm writing notes. Jordan and I will go on this today, and whatever we haven't declared, because maybe it wasn't on the last time we checked, we will go through this whole calendar. And for us, I'll answer all these, because even though they seem far in advance, but I think you guys as coaches and running this organization, isn't it better, like the sooner you have people's, whether they can attend or decline, isn't it better if we, not waiting till the last minute unless you absolutely have to because you don't know? So isn't that something we want to convey too, like to get in this meet schedule and get your swimmer declared, the sooner the better?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that is on there, every single solitary event that is on there, if it says edit commitment, please press edit commitment and edit your commitment. Unless it says, senior qualifiers only, and your child is 8, your child is not a senior qualifier. So if it says specifically that, this is not for your child, this is not for your group, you don't need to worry about it if it's not for your group. And in fact, usually we've taken care of it, like by omitting your group from the commitments in that case. But if it's to you and it's on that calendar, yes, put yes or no as soon as you know, as soon as possible. So if you are, sitting there with your calendar and you can go through all of those events right now, do it.
And what's the latest possible time that parents can change that commitment, because you never know what comes up?
So for swim meets, our due date for entries is 2 weeks before the first day of the meet.
Okay.
So if you need to change, it's got to be 2 weeks before the first day of the meet. If you have a question about that, or if you're nervous about it, or if you think like, something's going on, somebody's sick, I'm not totally sure, I might have to leave town, or whatever, I've got a work thing happening, let us know. Just say like, we said yes, but I'm not totally sure this is going to work. Let us know. Sometimes we have options, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we'll say, you know what, pull her. This one's not important. Or you know what, we have a little extra leeway time on this. We've been given an opportunity, or this one is for some reason we have an extra 4 days. So why don't you let us know next Tuesday? Whatever. Sometimes we'll say like, look, this is a hard one. So if you don't know by tomorrow, we're gonna have to pull her. Whatever it is, but at least that way we know and a good system going.
Okay.
I think Kelli made a very good point. She said that her and Jordan are going to sit down and go through this. I think we know of some parents who go through and pick for their kids, and then their kids are, kind of get burnt out because they're doing more events than they want. I think it's very important to bring your swimmer into the choice of, are you going to do this meet, this activity, or whatever's going on, and let them be part of that process.
Because we don't really pick the meets. Finley, we tell her what's available to her, and then she asks usually where the location is and what the pool is, all that kind of stuff, and then she'll say, yeah, I'll go. So she's picking the events that makes her responsible for showing up then and not complaining.
And I think that's why I do it with Jordan, because what ZAP, the whole being responsible and committing, and then if something comes up after we've said yes, it's like, we have swim. You know what I mean? It's just part of that process of teaching them commitment and responsibility and that whole process. So that's kind of why we do it as well. So good point.
100%. If Dave Walter were on here, he could not be here, by the way. Same thing.
Yeah.
And I could not agree more that, you know, as part of our teaching character and you know, teaching kids how to be global citizens, you know, and just teaching communication and being part of a family, that is huge. It's paramount that you're all sitting together and deciding what you're going to do. This affects the whole family. And they're all big decisions, and you guys are committing as well as, you know, and they're committing as well. And then you're able to hold them to their commitments, which I think is huge. Like I said before, you know, you're all part of the team. Right. And, you know, they can't do it without you, and you can't do it without them. So you're all committing together, and I think it's great for you all to sit down together. You know, one of the things that I ask kids when I hire them is, how do you decide, you know, do you have a family calendar? Is it central somewhere in your house? How do you your family about, you know, when you're working or when you would be working? And kids who have no idea what I'm talking about are not getting hired. But it's really clear when kids, especially athletes, come and get, and, you know, and look for jobs with me. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, we have a central calendar. It's on the refrigerator. You know, we talk every night, you know, whatever, we touch base, blah, blah, blah. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you know, lady, of course I talk with my parents. You know, what do you mean? And then I have other kids who look at me like I'm crazy and say, what are you talking about? I never talk to my parents. But it makes a huge difference, and it's part of that same process that I was talking about earlier with the travel meets. That they need to be talking to you, and they need to be talking to everybody that's part of their life that is going to be affected when they go to a meet. And if it's not a travel meet, then the biggest ones who are going to be affected are them and you. Need to be talking with you when they're committing to go.
I think also parents need to know how to contact the coach when our swimmers are sick, because the last about 2 meets ago, we had to Finley pulled herself, but she wanted to try. I mean, I think parents, when you have a swimmer of a certain age, you have to let them decide if their body's going to be able to handle it or not. But I think we need to know, sometimes we've had her in, like, it was one time before, an urgent care where the doctor pulled her, and we need to know how do we get in touch with you, just like the day before a meet, you know, where obviously a doctor's not going to allow your child to swim. And I think we need to make sure that those contact information, email or text or whatever, is available to us.
Yes. You should have parents. I'm sorry, Mike's going completely insane. And I've also got just a text from another parent who can't log into the chat. So 2 things. One, ask your coach for their number so that you can text them either the day of or the day before. I know that everybody in my age group and my PS1 group, either the kid or the parent or both, have my phone number. I won't give it out here because this will be public, but I will give it to you guys anytime. I'll send it out to you in an email. Text me anytime. And the same thing goes for Marshall or for Deanne. You know, we're really big on that, and that's a really easy way to get a hold of me very quickly, and to just say, you know, look, we're having trouble here. I don't know what to do. What do you think? Or, hey, can you give us a quick call because, you know, Bobby Sue doesn't think that she needs to get out of bed this morning because, you know, she's tired, or whatever. The other thing that I have a lot of times is kids who say, well, I'm really tired, I don't think I'm going to go to practice. And what I tell parents is, that's fine, then you go ahead and call Shari. Here's the phone. Call. And typically what that does is the kids say, fine, okay, go to practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're tired enough that they will actually call or text and say, I'm sorry, I'm not coming to practice. But 9 times out of 10, if you give them the phone, they will not text me, and they will not call me, and they will just come to practice. But to have my number is a valuable thing, and definitely if there's an illness going on, for sure, I want to know about it. And Finley did make a valiant effort the other day, and gone in and tried her best, and it wasn't going to happen. And it was a good decision to come. It was a good decision to try, and it was a good decision to go home. So that was the perfect thing to do. Tracy Sorich can't get on the chat. She's not sure why, but she wanted to know if you have 1 or 2 WAG times, can you swim at the blue, red, white meet and try and qualify for an additional event? And what times qualify for WAG? If you have 1 or 2 times for WAG already, you should be working at qualifying in more events now, and you have a couple more chances now. So swim really fast at every meet that you can enter now. There are a couple more, and the last one will be that Friday Night Lights last ditch one right before, or that'll be the Friday Night Lights or the PAC BRW. Yes, you can swim that BRW, that last ditch if you really want to, but I'm not sure that I would recommend it. The reason being, it rarely works. It rarely works that you qualify for an event for WAG like the week before, and then you go swim it up, like even if you qualify, then you go swim it the next week, you wind up swimming pretty slow. But we could talk about it if it were special circumstances, if there was like a 1/100th of a second or something. What times qualify for WAG? Just since September of this year, or do spring and summer of the past count? Do those times count and qualify? If it's the best time, it qualifies, it counts. The only time that times that you have don't qualify are for IMX. IMX is kind of a weird conglomeration of times from this season only. But anything else, any other qualifier meet, it's your best time for the past year. So, and it's the past year from the past 2 years rather. So past 2 years, max qualify, whatever, it's his best time. So if he won a best time last December and he hasn't gone faster since, but that best time from December qualifies him for WAG this year, he can use that time. Okay. That can get a little bit confusing. The other question that I get a lot is, my kid just aged up, do all of his times go away? Now he has to make all new times. No, your times follow you even as you age up. It's just that you have new time standards as a new age group. And those time standards are all on the Southern California Swimming website. So I'm not going to go on there now because we're over time. I don't want to drag you guys through that, but that's a really good, it's another good parent info broadcast that I will do. And maybe I will, Tracy Sorich, maybe I will get you on as a guest for that one.
You should. She's good. Tracy, sorry, she's laughing right now like that, Kelli.
You open the door on that one.
Exactly, Tracy. I'm going to say yes for Tracy. I'm committing. I'm her secretary. She's dying. I'm going to get a text any minute from her, I swear. She's going to be like... Add Angelica Jones on there too. Sorry, Mrs. Jones.
I love it.
I think us that do it should be able to choose the next. Don't you think, Shari?
I like that. I like
So
that.
You don't have
Randi?
to draw. I think that we should, and then we can all, they're going to just throw eggs at me the next time they see me at school.
That's good. That's like a tag you're in type thing. I like it.
Everybody, right? Everyone do their part. Okay. Just put on a flannel, kind of brush your hair. It's all good. Okay, are we done, my friends?
I think so. Randi, any parting words?
No, I just hope we have a good season. We're off to a good start.
I think so too.
All right, fantastic. Any other questions? Drop me an email, drop me a text. I have gotten a bunch of really, really good ideas for these sessions. Again, this coming week, Monday afternoon, 12:30, will be me and Deanne for part 2 of the calendar. And then Wednesday will be IM1 Wednesday night, 7:30, will be the IM1 parent meeting. And then after that, I think we're going to do more for individual groups, as well as more for, I'm sorry, it's my cat. More for everyone, general stuff. So we'll do, you know, qualifying for meets. We'll do, I got a great email from somebody saying, you know, what can parents do to not freak out their kids before meets, their own anxiety levels. We've had a lot of really great ideas. So we'll get to all of them.
It would be nice if we had something about nutrition, because that is a huge topic in our house, especially since I don't have a foodie kid. So, you know, just variety would be great. What we should be feeding, what we shouldn't be feeding, because Todd and I have a lot of disagreements on, you know, I'm just more of get some food in the kid, and he's more of, well, that's going to weigh her down. So, and I know we overfed her for a finals. We took her out and fed her Mexican food, and she was like, you know, a brick in the pool. And I felt so badly, but she didn't care because it was our first finals. And yeah, she was a brick in the pool, and it was our fault. We overfed the kid. We fed her the wrong stuff. You know, it was our first finals. We had no idea she was even going to qualify for that. And so we, as a parent, I could use that, because when we get now I know that if we get a break and we have a final, you know, don't feed my kid 2-inch cheese enchiladas, rice and beans, and give her a dessert, you know. But I was so excited she was hungry. So, you know, that is like our biggest problem with our swimmer. And I've talked to other parents, and I know that they have nutrition issues about even what to feed her maybe 2 days prior. I think I've read things that is even more important than the day of. So I think if we had some kind of information, that would be very helpful. I know to our family, I know to some other, especially the youngins, because they think that it's not important. I'd rather go play at the meet.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. I know that Marshall wants to do a couple little blurbs, and I would love to do a couple little blurbs, and I've got another friend of mine who I'd love to get on about that. And yeah, we'll do, maybe we can do like a bunch of little 15-minute ones too. That would be awesome.
That would be great. That would be very helpful.
Okay. Awesome. All right, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Randi.
Thank you. Sorry we went over, but thanks for hanging in there. And hopefully Todd and Finley have a great movie. And
oh yeah, Godzilla, here they come. She's never been to a movie with subtitles, so it's going to be interesting for her.
I love it. It's fantastic. I can't wait.
Jordan's with Marshall. I'm going to bust Marshall's chops for not showing up this morning.
Yeah, you
but
get up.
Since my daughter's swimming with him right now, I'll wait till after practice.
You tell him to do it.
Thanks, Shari. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're great. Take care, guys.
Thanks.